Hello everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I would like to share my final thoughts on the Kansept knives Convict. Now, this knife I bought off of Blade HQ. It went on sale for a time. Um, at the recording of this video, it is still available on sale, but by the time you guys see this, who knows if it's still going to be available. There's a lot of other videos that are going to be posted before this one comes along, but I'm going to be reading a lot of stuff off of Blade HQ right now because there are a lot of different variants and it can get a little confusing. So starting off, there is a stonewashed blade with like this electric blue thumb studs, this like grayish blue stonewashed titanium scales. It has a black pivot, but blue body hardware and matching blue backspacer standoffs, the ones that are back there. It looks just like that blue. That one is available for $164.99. There is the next variant, which is my specific one. It has the gold thumb studs, silver body hardware pivot, but blue standoffs, satin blade, and teal green kind of anodized handle scales. There is what is this? It's a Damascus variant. It has really light bronze titanium scales, all black hardware. Back spacers, if I could see them. Kind of sucks. I can't even see the color of the back spacers, but I'm pretty sure they're black. So a little bit more of a cohesive colorway. That one is $172.99, and I don't even think I bothered mentioning how much this one costs. $159.99. These are on sale, so these aren't their typical price. They usually float around like 110. Excuse me, sorry, 210 to 215, around there is their full price. And then there is another thumb stud variant, which is something, if I were to have done this over again, it's probably what I would have went for, but it costs a little bit more. It is a stone wash blade, gold thumb studs, gold hardware, body hardware, but the pivot is silver. The clip looks like it's some sort of like heat treated titanium. It doesn't have the same finish as the scales, and I can't see the standoffs. You know, actually, the picture on Blade HQ, the standoffs look really, really light, which makes me think that they might be plain Jane. The colors on the Convict are just everywhere. Nothing is cohesive. Nothing makes sense. It's just a mix match of just colors, and it's kind of funky. Kind of bugs me a little bit. But if you're cool with, random ass colors, this might be for you. That colorway that I just mentioned right now, that one's $207.99. So I'm not too sure why that one costs significantly more than the three others that I mentioned. There is also the first iteration of the Convict. There are 5 other variants, and they range all over the place with prices and colors and finishes. Most of them seem to be around $207, the most expensive one. So overall, the most expensive Convict is a wood-grained textured titanium that's kind of like this blurple Damascus blade. It has the thumb, not disc, it's like this, it's like a block, it's like a shelf, but there's nothing on the other side, so you can't reverse flick it, and it's only for right-handed people. Another weird thing about this is that it has 4 standoffs. I don't know why there's 4. There's an excessive amount of hardware. That's very poor design choice. It just doesn't make any sense. Didn't need to be a thing. And that one is $297. Not on sale. That's like its regular price. But Besides that, I will be linking down the Convict overall. You guys can just good luck, have fun. I'll tell you that. Just look over everything. Make sure you're actually gonna be happy with what you want, because I should have done a little bit more looking into this thing, especially this colorway, because I'm kind of regretting this one. So let's go to my variant here. This is a satin with all other freaking colors. Overall length 7.5 inches, blade length 3.3 inches, so it's just a little bit over the legal length in some areas, so just be wary of that. The cutting edge is 3 inches, blade width 1.10, blade thickness 0.13, blade material CPM S35VN, wonderful blade material, can't complain. Sheep's foot blade style, flat, fully flat, goes through material like a dream, an absolute cardboard champ. It's really weird because it says the finish on here is stonewash, and it says stonewash on the actual listing. This isn't stonewash. This is, maybe they were talking about the handles, because the handles are definitely stonewash, but the blade is not. It's definitely satin, and a really, really poor, cheap looking satin at that. That's just my opinion. There are plenty of people that love how satin finishes look. I just think they're not great for if you're actually gonna use a knife. You get scratches just by looking at them. Doesn't matter how hard the steel is. Handle length is 4.25. Color, it says green. It's more like a, yeah, I guess it's like a tealish green in some lights. Weight 4 ounces. Sounds about right, honestly. It doesn't feel super heavy, it doesn't feel super light. It is in my opinion, a full-size knife. Not like a full-size plus, but it's a full-size knife. Tip up right-hand carry only, so not for lefties, and manufactured in China. So with all that wonderful nonsense out of the way, let's get into a couple visual size comparisons here. Starting off with my Benchmades, my Spyderco's. This is my PM2 Para 3, so it's definitely in between the two. Like I said, full-size knife. Do now my Benchmades, my Osborne 940, very similar in, I guess, overall length really, and my Bug Out, close to that too. If anything, it's exactly the same length. It's just a little bit shorter than the Osborne 940. Last two here, my Civivi Elementum that I just fumbled flipping open, and my Demco 80-20.5. So very similar in overall length as the Demco. Has just a hair bit more cutting edge, and the Demco actually has the slightest little curve to it. This is flat, like cleaver flat. But it works really well, as you know, as I mentioned before, with utilitarian cutting tasks. It does have a rather delicate tip for the overall profile, which is a little weird, but not that big of a deal. And the blade stock is quite thick, honestly, but as it comes down here, it gets really, really thin, and that's definitely what aids it with moving through material very easily and as well as it does. This is a sheepdog design, and unfortunately I don't have an actual sheepdog knife to compare it to because I just haven't found the right one. This is a model that you can't really reverse flick if you're on that lock bar. It is extremely lock bar sensitive, so unfortunately it's gonna suck if you want to reverse flick this. There is no texturing. It's not a chalky feel. It's a very standard titanium feel, and it's kind of slippery, honestly. So ceramic detent ball, ceramic ball bearings. It's extremely smooth, and the access to the frame lock is So generous, so comfortable. This is such a comfortable knife to disengage. I absolutely love opening and closing this thing. The thumb studs on here, they're a little slippery, but if you get underneath them just right, you're good to go. So typically with reverse flicking, I just get my nail underneath it. With some other knives that have sharper thumb studs, like here, this for example, these are a lot sharper. So I can do, you know, with the actual skin of my finger, I could be on top and, you know, flick it out. I don't have to get my nail underneath it. If anything, it'll scratch up my nail more than I really need to actually get the actual blade out. With this, it's kind of the opposite. They stick out just far enough to where it's comfortable to get them out, get the blade out. But I would say that I do prefer to use, you know, my nail underneath the actual thumb stud. And for thumb flicking it, yeah, I could do on top. I don't really have to get my my thumb underneath it. It's kind of a little uncomfortable, like having to like go down in there like that and flick it out. I don't really think that that's too necessary, but to each their own. That's just how I do it. The detent on this is very well tuned. It came perfectly centered, very easy to take apart and maintain. I have not sharpened it yet, honestly, just because I haven't used it a whole lot. And I haven't used it a whole lot because chances are I might end up selling this one on nafsale.com, because I was just a little disappointed because I read the description and it said that the blade, and I thought it was talking about the blade was a stone wash, and it's not. This is a satin, and I don't think that that's cool. There should be a little bit more you know, detail behind that, but hey, that's not a big deal. This blade can be modified. The only unfortunate thing is that you can't remove these thumb studs. They're not like the Benchmade ones or the ones that you can get on the Demco that are aftermarket or that come stock on the Demco. You can't remove them, and well, not without ruining them. So I think that this knife would really benefit from having a hole or a slot cut into it, but I don't know how to do that, nor do I have the tools to be able to do that. But I can certainly work enough to be able to afford somebody to just do it for me. So there is that. That is an option. And then they can put whatever finish or coating, whatever, on the blade. Going over the fit and finish of this thing, it's wonderful. I love Kansept. I've only experienced a couple of their knives, but I've been pleasantly pleased with their fit and finish. It's just great. I was expecting greatness, and I received greatness when it comes to fit and finish, but just the color palette that's being used on this model and on a lot of other ones, I don't think it's very cohesive. I mean, you have a cheap satin finished blade, gold thumb studs, silver hardware, pivot screw and everything. And by the way, everything is T6. Trash. Could have been T8. It really wouldn't have taken away much from the look or aesthetic of the knife. The pivot is a T8, so I mean, I guess that's all right. Pocket clip. Nice little milled pocket clip. It's very flat, very low profile. It's about half the length of the actual handle, so it is a little bit bigger than I would prefer, but I don't feel it when actually, you know, using the knife and gripping it. There is your lockup right there, and as you can see, the space that I was mentioning before, very comfortable. And the steel insert does double as the over travel stop, so that's cool. When I did take this apart, I did flex over the frame lock just a little bit to make it a little bit tighter. Zero lock sticks, zero locking issues, just like before, so that's awesome. Just there's no play in any dimension, and this is what you can expect from Kansept, so that's cool. But I guess now we can talk about the bad side. All the colors, this is just a mixed bag of just colors that don't go together, they don't make sense, and it doesn't look good. You have these blue standoffs here, doesn't match the blue on here. The hardware, body hardware, the clip hardware, pivot hardware, nothing matches. That's all silver. And the thumb studs are gold. Like, what the hell is that? It just doesn't make any kind of sense. This was a very polarizing unboxing for me when I did get this knife, because I was expecting something a little bit different. So I'm not going to return it. I don't care to return the knife. I will just, if I truly decide to sell it on NAF sale, I mean, of course, I'll let you guys know in a YouTube short or something, and I'll post it on my Instagram. It will be discounted from, from its value at the time that I'm going to post it. So once the sale is over, and it goes back to its regular price, I will probably end up, selling it for a little bit less than its regular price. But because I got this on sale, then, I got it on sale. So there's that. I do still like the knife as a tool and actually using it. Again, executed extremely well. Cutting performance is insane on this thing. I love it. But it's just the visuals. Things just don't go. And on a lot of their other variants and colorways, it's just all mix matchy, and it's really weird. If you're cool and you're down with all the funky colors and finishes and the inconsistency from the listings on Blade HQ, go for it. So I think you might actually like this knife if you're cool with that. Another little nitpick here is that this could have been a full finger choil. The blade is large enough for that, and honestly that would have been pretty nice. But that was a fumble in my opinion. It's just, you can't, and I have large to extra large size hands but slim fingers, so even me, I can get on there, it's just not as comfortable as I would like. So again, that could be another modification if you have the tools to do so. This could be a beast of a knife if you have tools to do modifications. Like if I were to keep this knife and I had a limitless supply of modifying tools and methods and techniques, and I trusted my own ability, what I would do to this knife, I would strip everything, all the colors from everything. I would make a slot in here, chamfer it, of course, to not make it too sharp. The color of the standoffs, and the color of basically all the hardware, I would probably have it as a blackened steel, just to make it a little bit more cohesive, and then do a stone washing or a black wash on the blade and make the finger choil a real finger choil. And this would actually be a knife that I would be proud selling, and that I would be happy to actually own. So those are the things that I would do to this knife if I had the ability to do so, but I think that that's a pretty tall order, even for a knife modifier, and it would probably cost me more than what I got the knife for, which is very unfortunate. So I don't recommend this knife. If you really care about aesthetics and how things look, things don't match. Some things on here just don't make any kind of sense. Not to me, they don't. But clearly talking about a quality fit and finish and cutting performance perspective, it's a winner. So, take that however you want. And with that, hopefully you guys got something useful out of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, my little ramble. I don't mean to sound, like a Debbie Downer or just, like crapping all over this knife and its design, but it's just, it's not completely for me, and that's all right. So it is what it is. But with that, thank you guys for watching, and take care.